Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. My name is Lachlan Hetherington, and I have the special privilege of talking with Jasmine today, who is the owner of Physio Group Southwest. How are you going today, Jasmine?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That's awesome to hear. Now, you don't mind if I just ask you a couple of questions just to start off so we can just know just a little bit more about you. There's just five just quick questions.
Yeah, go for it.
Awesome. So I would like to ask you, who inspires you?
I always find this one really, really difficult. I have a lot of people who inspire me, and I find it hard to pinpoint one. Of course, my family's always there, always inspiring me to be the best that I can. But I have so many mentors and people that inspire me for different reasons, and I take little bits from every single one of them. And my motto is that everyone has things they can offer, and if you're just willing to listen and learn, then you can learn something from most everyone.
Yeah, for sure. And number two, what was your dream occupation growing up?
I always thought that I would do something helping people, and probably more in the health space.
Yeah.
My mum was a nurse, so that was always on my radar. I did consider other allied health, so speech therapy and occupational therapy. But when I was about 15, I did a week of work experience where I did a day with all the different allied health, and that was the week that I decided I wanted to be a physio.
Yeah.
Just absolutely loved that day, and from then on, that was it.
Okay, nice. What is your main hobby right now?
I'm a little bit addicted to business and learning everything that I can, and leadership and things like that. So I spend a lot of time reading, listening to podcasts, all that kind of thing. But other than that, exercise is probably my biggest hobby, into running, basketball, volleyball. Yeah, really trying to keep active.
Nice. Your dream location to travel to?
I love places that are warm, sunny, beach. I wouldn't mind going somewhere. I'd like to go back to probably Fiji again.
Obviously, when all the borders open up and everything, we can all get back to traveling.
Yes, absolutely. We can do.
And where did you grow up? Was it in Perth?
No. So I'm a country girl by heart. Yeah. So I grew up on a farm just a bit north of Albany, down south of Western Australia.
Okay.
So we had a couple of farm properties, one just south of the Stirling Ranges and one just south of the Parongarat Ranges. So grew up running around with sheep and ostriches and cropping, and so country girl.
Okay, nice. So that is all for the introduction questions, but I would love for you just to sort of connect the dots on really how you sort of left school and then sort of all the way into becoming a physio. So obviously starting it. I'd love to hear your sort of story.
Yeah. Okay. So as I said, when I was about 15 and I did the work experience, that was the moment that I decided physio was for me, and that's what I wanted to do. So year 11 and 12 was just 100% focused on reaching that goal. So tried to choose the subjects that I thought I could do the best in to get the score, because at the time, the score to get into Curtin University was a TR of 96, it was quite competitive. So I just knew that I had to get the score first and foremost. I unfortunately didn't get that score.
Yeah.
I worked really, really hard. I'm probably not a natural academic, but worked a super hard worker when I've got a goal in mind. So I only got a score of 94. So I reached, I just missed out. Yeah. which I was devastated. But I think, I don't know, the luck was on my side because it's the first year that Notre Dame University opened up their physiotherapy course.
Mm-hmm.
And so they took scores a little bit lower, and they also did interviews to get into their course. And I was lucky enough to get a place in the Notre Dame course.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was really cool and absolutely loved it, and would highly recommend it. Once again, it was a bit of a tough road. Physio's not an easy course to get through. And again, not being a natural academic, I had to work really, really, really hard at it, but made my way all the way through the course and graduated in 2016. And I actually started out in the public system. So I worked at our hospital for 3 months, and I was on the general surgical and general medical ward mostly, and then I did a little bit in outpatients as well. I actually moved on from there because I didn't feel it was the right fit for me. I kind of felt like I was a glorified walker. I just walked people basically, and I felt like the whole aim was just to get people out the door as quick as you could. And it just wasn't the relationship building there that I think I needed. You see someone for 3 or 4 days and you go to see them on the 5th day and they're gone home already, they're discharged. So I actually went then to work with a company called Therapy Focus, and they work with children with disabilities, and we're based in the community. So we go into the schools and the homes. And I absolutely loved it. Loved working with the children, loved working with the families and the schools in a collaborative approach. Absolutely loved that. And so I was there for about 12 months. And my husband actually then got a job down in Collie in the southwest, and he'd been trying for quite a few years. It was really competitive to get into his field of work. And so when this job came up, we decided to take that. So when we moved to Collie, I was looking at, what are my job options? And at the time, there probably actually wasn't a lot of job options out there, but got in contact with the local private practice and asked them if they had anything going, and they did. So I jumped into private practice. It was actually a really hard transition. It's a completely different world to the other 2 jobs that I had. And it was a huge learning curve, probably really one of my toughest years in my career. Just feeling completely inadequate and ill-prepared, and like I wasn't doing a good enough job for the clients. But was, stuck at it, and obviously huge learning curve, and learnt a lot and started to settle into the role.
How long were you with them sort of before that sort of all wrapped up and you sort of started your own clinic?
Well, I actually didn't start my own clinic. I actually bought the clinic that I was working in Collie. So I was with them for probably only 18 months before the owner approached me and said, look, we're wanting to sell the clinic. Would you be interested? So it was never, ever on my radar to work in private practice, let alone own my own clinic. But when the opportunity presented itself, it really sparked something in me. I got really excited because I could see that I could really make a difference and influence, how we provided our service and how we helped people. And I guess looking back, I'm not entirely sure what I was thinking. I had no idea. Knew nothing about business. I'd only been a physio for a couple of years as well, so it was a little bit crazy thinking back.
Wow.
But it really excited me, and I had some really good support, really good backing. I found some really good mentors. So my dad, being a farmer, he had a good business mind on his head, so he was a good support. My husband was a huge support there. He for whatever reason felt that I could do it, that we could do it, and really pushed me to go out of my comfort zone and take that leap. And I also found some really great mentors I found an awesome accountant, Phil from RSM, and he was just amazing, giving me some really sound advice early on, and the Small Business Centre at the time as well. So I guess with all of those people behind me, we decided to jump in and do it.
Yeah.
Take out a loan and bought the business. So
yeah, wow.
So sort of how I got it.
Yeah. So when you bought it, did you change many things within the business? So either your approach or I'd love to sort of hear sort of what happened there. Obviously when you're taking over the business, I find that some people tend to change a few things, and I've seen people, the staff leave because they weren't really happy with the changes. But yeah, I'd love to hear sort of what you did in regards to that.
Yeah, well, so the clinic it was quite a small clinic. So there was myself as a physio, then there was a senior physio who had actually been working there for a few years prior to myself. So he was a really good, stable physio who had a good following. And I had a practice manager who'd also been working there for quite a few years that obviously had lots of knowledge on her head as well. So I had a good, stable structure with the three of us. And we then, after a year or so of just working our guts out, I was just working flat out and just put every cent that I earned back into paying the loan off. So it was probably after 2 years that kind of came up for breath, that thought, you know what, we've knocked off the loan, we worked really hard, and now it's time to start progressing. Let's move forward here, not just, tread water and keep a head above water. So I guess probably in those first couple of years, I made some small changes. We probably took on our first couple of graduates, and I knew that if I was going to progress this practice forwards, I needed to step back from actually treating clients so much. To have the time and headspace, and that meant taking on team members, and I guess then that's a whole new ball game there. They're probably the biggest changes that happened. Is I stepped back and started to take on a team, and then we started to build and mentor the team.
So you brought on 2 graduates. You didn't bring in any experienced physios at that point? Or was it just graduates?
The real difficulty that we have is in the location that we are, being a regional practice. And, Collier's only a town of about 7,000-8,000 people. And recruitment to a regional area has always been a really big challenge. So we had to kind of come up with a strategy of how to attract physios to the town, because the nearest university, is 2.5 hours away. So that's what, I guess, why we went for graduates. And we did advertise for both graduates and experienced, but experienced physios were obviously established in metro areas, happy in their roles and things like that. So the strategy we went for was offering a really good start for graduates, a varied experience, caseload, and some really good support and mentoring side of things. And we've kind of really grown with that over the years. So it's probably one of our best recruitment strategies is offering a really structured, supportive graduate training program. Then we've managed to retain physios using that recruitment strategy. Because
I guess once they've come in, and then they're obviously used to your systems, because obviously they haven't worked anywhere else, so that's sort of that's pretty smart in regards to that. Yeah, I would love to hear. How much competition was there? A lot of competition in your area at all, or was it just yourself?
In terms of physio, no. So we're the only private practice in the town of Collie.
Okay.
So the nearest physio was Bunbury, so that's sort of half an hour drive away.
Yeah.
So that's I guess one thing that we've never really had to deal with as much as metro areas is, the clientele is there, and most country town people are very loyal.
Yeah.
So they want to support local businesses. So that's certainly a huge positive of being in a rural area.
Yeah. Okay. And I noticed it. So now, did I count there was about 13 staff that you're up to about now? Was that?
Yes, so we have 4, 7, 12 physiotherapists.
Yeah, okay.
Not including myself. So I don't treat regularly anymore.
Yeah.
I will take some overflow or step in to cover holidays and things like that.
Yeah.
So including myself, we've got 13 physios at the moment.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, we're just adding yoga and massage therapists at the moment.
Yeah, wow.
Just recruiting for that.
Yeah, and you've scaled to, is it 3 locations as well? You're at 3 locations. Wow, so you've obviously started off, that's pretty explosive growth in regards to that. How many years did that really take you to scale up to? It would have been a couple of years, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so again, that was, not just like never working in private practice or owning my own business. The scaling up wasn't exactly planned either. It was kind of as opportunities arise, we sort of jumped on them. But the first location was Collie, and then the second location was our Harvey Clinic, which is another rural town, and it's an even smaller town of about 3,000 to 4,000 people. But the way that came about was because in Collie we had 4 full-time physios at the time, and the mining sector took a bit of a downturn. And so I decided to start looking a little bit broader so that we weren't solely relying on Collie, and we weren't sure of the future of Collie at the time. So I wanted to, keep the 4 physios we'd worked really hard to recruit and train and retain. So I started looking around different areas, and Harvey came up and presented itself. It didn't have any physio services at the time in the town.
Wow.
And we managed to connect with a local GP there who was so amazingly supportive. They were really excited that we would come to the town and provide a physio service. So we started off in they actually owned an old building. They'd moved their GP clinic to a new one and still had the old one, and offered to rent it to us half a day a week. So we just started off one physio, half a day a week, and it's built up now to 3 full days a week, and possibly 4 full days as well. So that's really going really well, and the town has really embraced us, and the GPs have been amazingly supportive as well. So that's where the Harvey Clinic came from. And that was probably 3 or 4 years after I'd bought the Collie practice. And then 2016, my accountant actually called me and he said, Jazz, there's this clinic in Australind that the owner has been trying to sell it for quite a few years. And she was actually a 70-year-old physio, still treating full-time.
Oh, wow.
And owned the clinic, and she had tried to sell it for quite a while. And couldn't, and she was going to have to just close the doors if she wanted to retire. And that was the plan. She'd set a date that by the end of June we would just shut the doors. And so he contacted me and he said, look, this is the deal here. What do you think? Do you want to go for it? So I had a look into it, and again, I don't know, for whatever reason, the idea really excited me. There was an established clientele there. There was, a team there who would be without without a job and the clients without a service. So I decided to go for it and buy that one too.
Yeah, wow. That's so obviously, you would have rebranded that and kept on all the staff?
Yeah, so we did. We took on all the staff at the time, and it was only a little clinic. So it was the older physio who was working full time, but she also had a junior physio with her as well. So it was just the two physios really. So it was a nice little cute clinic there, but I could really see huge potential. So the area was growing. So Australind is sort of on the fringes of the city of Bunbury. So it was, had a massive potential. There was a lot of new developments going in. The demand for the services was there. We just needed to really ramp that up to provide them. So, otherwise people were driving into Bunbury to receive those services. So I rebranded under the Physio Group Southwest banner. We then moved the clinic because it was in like a tiny little place with only 3 little treatment rooms, no gym space or anything like that. So we moved next door into a bigger, much bigger building, and then took on a bunch of new physios to fill the space and worked really, really hard to build up our reputation and word of mouth referrals. And now we have 7 physios there.
Wow.
In that clinic, and it's still growing.
That's crazy. And what's the population of the town there?
So Australind is, I actually don't know the population off the top of my head, but it'd be like thousands and thousands and thousands. So it's on the fringe of the city of Bunbury, which is the second biggest city after Perth in WA. So, and it's growing fast. So I actually don't know the current population there, but plenty more room for growth. Yeah.
Okay. And how do you differentiate yourself from obviously those competitors in those? Well, obviously you don't have many competitors in a couple locations, but how do you really, differentiate yourself from those surrounding clinics?
Look, I think our focus on not only our team culture, but also our client experience.
Yeah.
So we just try to make people feel that we really value them as an individual.
Yeah.
And it's sort of more of a family environment. And obviously really working on quality of service and quality of, our physio that we provide as well. And to be honest with you, we haven't done massive lots of marketing. It's been...
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, to see whether you've marketed at all.
Well, not paid marketing, no. We do regular Facebook posts, but they're all free. Like we haven't really done very many paid ads yet. It's been just establishing that relationship with GPs. Is a huge area that we have referrals from. So we've got some really good relationships with most of the GPs in our area. But our biggest referral area is from clients referring other people. Yeah,
word of mouth. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the 2 biggest areas. And we are finding now that our website is becoming bigger and bigger because of it's sort of becoming more of a metro area. So we find in metro areas, Google searches are becoming stronger. But it's just really growing from word of mouth. I think I believe that we're attracting people who value how we work, the fact that we're very personalized service, and therefore they are referring other people who also value that.
So that's some huge explosive growth. I haven't really seen that, or 3 practices in about 6 to 8 years. That's about right.
Yeah, so I bought Collie in September 2009, so almost 12 years now.
Yeah, okay.
So,
yeah. So what's the plan next? Obviously, is it to launch another clinic, or is it, I'd love to sort of hear more.
Yeah. I haven't closed the doors on any sort of growth or opportunities that might come our way. But currently we've worked so hard on our culture and building our team, and we just have the most amazing team. So my focus now has really shifted to nurturing that team. And creating careers and pathways for them.
Yeah, and growth,
yeah. And I think by also focusing on that will assist with attracting more great team members as well. But the current focus is we have outgrown the space in our Australian clinic.
Yeah.
And we're about to double that space. So we're about to go upstairs in the current building that we are. So we'll have double the space. So we're opening up a second rehab gym area. So we're going to have a Pilates studio, and then we'll have a separate rehab gym space. We're adding yoga and massage as well. So we're expanding into a few other complementary services. The idea of buying another clinic just blows my mind. Sometimes there's days where I already feel so stretched, I just don't even know how it would be possible. However, there's a little thing in me that excites me.
Exactly. Yeah, well, it sounds like it was very spontaneous on really how it sort of happened, acquiring these other locations. But that sounds super interesting. So if you had a piece of advice for any clinic owners that are really sort of wanting to get started in the space, and even expand as quick as you guys have, I'd love to sort of hear that.
I guess, I just probably the biggest key for me is having the right people around you and the right mentors. Yep. And that may be multiple different people. So I could literally list all the people who have been influential to me, and that would take pages to list them all. I think always be open to people's perspectives and advice, that other people who've been there before, or potentially have some expertise or skills in areas that we don't. Learning the whole business side of things, I've absolutely loved it. And I'm so passionate about that now. But I really think there's some awesome people out there that are willing to give their time and their expertise, and just if you're open to it, you can learn so much from them. I think that's been the biggest thing for me. Just have a curious mind and open mind, and learn from as many different people as you can. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's pretty much everything I've got. We're about at half an hour. If there's anything you would like to add, but thank you so much for your time. It's been awesome to have a chat with you, and I'm quite amazed at really how fast it's grown, and I'm excited to what happens next with you guys. But thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much. No, I love, as you can tell, I love to chat about my story, and I hope it helps somebody else out there to give them the confidence and to be able to jump in there and do it. And I'd love to hear about all the other amazing stories out there.
Awesome. All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in. There will be more episodes coming out.